the Arlington County Park and Recreation Commission. And I will turn it over to Marco Rivero for the instructions on how to conduct yourselves during an online meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jill. Again, my name is Marco Rivero. I am the DPR staff liaison of the Park and Recreation Commission, and welcome to this virtual only meeting of the PRC. This meeting is being recorded for our public records and will be posted on the Arlington County Commission Meetings YouTube page. And please avoid sharing any personal information that you would not like to be made public. We ask that presenters and attendees please mute your microphones if you're not speaking. During virtual only or hybrid meetings, commissioners joining virtually and who are also eligible to vote must have their cameras on for the duration of the meeting for purposes of meeting quorum. For those attending via telephone, you can mute and unmute your microphones by dialing *6. The chat box will be monitored to address any technical or procedural questions during the meeting, but should not be used for meeting discussion. Commissioners should use their raise your hand function on the top toolbar to be recognized during discussion as well. And assigned presenters may share their screens using the share content box. As way of information, we will be holding a public comment period. In order to be recognized, please use the raise your hand function, and each public commenter will have up to 3 minutes for public comment. Staff will signal to the speaker once time is up. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Jill.
Jill, you're muted.
Thank you. I didn't want to cough in your head. This is the time that we take up the minutes for the October meeting. Do we have anybody willing to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Thank you. And is there any discussion on the minutes? All right, hearing no discussion. Everybody in favor of the minutes indicate by raising your virtual or your real hand.
Okay.
Looks like it. Oh, anybody against the minutes? So indicate. All right, I think the minutes passed. Thank you. And thanks for everybody who joined. Hello, Andrew and Claire and everybody else who joined. Nelson. Okay. Now it's time for public comment. Do we have any public commenters? There were none on the schedule, so I'm not too surprised. All right. So hearing no public commenters, we'll take up our very first agenda item, which we're going to be hearing from the Arlington Community Foundation and the Director of the Park and Recreation Department of Arlington County. As you will remember, we have been studying the issue of attracting private money to our Arlington County parks. We had an investigation by William of what happens in Fairfax County parks with their foundation. And then we heard from the Nova Parks as to their experience with the community foundation that they work with. And this will be our third and probably last presentation on this subject, with the end goal of writing a letter to the county board as to what our findings are in terms of the most preferred method of attracting private money to our parks. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to William to introduce our speakers. William has also volunteered to write the letter to the county board in draft form. So thank you, William, for taking this on, and look forward to the discussion.
Sure. Thank you, Jill. So we welcome our two guest speakers. And of course, we know and respect our Director of Parks and Recreation Department. Our first presenter will be Jennifer Owens, the CEO of the Arlington Community Foundation, a $30 million asset organization that takes donations and helps support community organizations. And of course, with respect to Jane, she's been director since 2013. And for the last 10 years, our Parks and Recreation Department has been in the top 10 across the country for large cities. And this year we won the National Gold Medal for Excellence in Park and Recreation Management. So we appreciate both of our guests. And Jennifer, I believe you have your presentation on.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully you can all see the PowerPoint. I'm trying PowerPoint Live. I've never done that, but here we go. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I know many of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet. I'm a neighbor here. I actually picked my house because I'm right next to Lacey Woods Park, which I absolutely enjoy pretty much on the daily. And I am excited to be here. I've been partnering with many different organizations in the county, including on a number of parks projects. So what I wanted to do tonight is just give you a sense of the Community Foundation, talk a little bit about the benefits of our partnership, talk a little bit down in the weeds to a certain extent about how it works and what services and processes we'd have in place, and then really turn this into a conversation. I want this to be as helpful for you as possible. So the point of the Community Foundation is really to bring together people and resources to help grow and strengthen the community and to identify needs in the community and drive resources towards those. And we do that in a variety of ways. And many of you may have interacted with the Community Foundation around our scholarships or any of the number of other programs that we've initiated over our 34-year history. But we're excited by the number of projects we've already worked on with the Parks Department and with people who are interested in supporting the parks and the county. And I want to share just a bit about the Community Foundation. We're actually at about $56 million in assets now. We give out about $700,000 a year in scholarships. We manage about 265 now component funds underneath the umbrella of the Community Foundation. And we manage a number of nonprofit reserve funds. This is a dense slide. I knew I'd be sending it out to you afterwards, so I wanted to have this up while we talked through it. But a partnership with the Community Foundation really offers you a tremendous amount of flexibility in how you engage with us. So there's some short-term practical things that we've done, and I'm going to go through a couple of examples of ways that we've already engaged with either individuals interested in supporting the parks or the Parks Department itself to move forward some of the work that you all are trying to do. There's options for how a partnership with the Community Foundation can evolve. So one of the things that struck me in the conversation that we had initially around what you're looking for is that you may decide to do one thing now and have that evolve into something else over time. And making the decision to partner with the Community Foundation can really be the stepping stone to move forward and make those decisions as you grow and change, and what you're attempting to do with the foundation changes. So it really, at this point, sounds to me like what the partnership would bring to you is the value of being able to really have the people who are involved focus on identifying projects, identifying potential funders, but not so much on the administrative side of, getting volunteers or people who are interested in supporting your work and then having it be about identifying appropriate bylaws or working through IRS documentation and other things that might impede your ability to attract people to work on the part that's really important to you. And so the Community Foundation really would provide that backbone. And really a process that works for you. So the existing examples of our partnership with the county, I think will give you a really good sense of how a partnership could work going forward. The very first project that I worked on with the Parks Department was in 2019 when we were working with Boeing on the naming of the Aquatic Center and Longbridge Park project. That was my first, I think, introduction to Jane and the work of the Parks Department to bring private dollars in to support a public project. And so working together with the county and with Boeing, we provided a solution for Boeing, who wanted to be able to get this money to this project and needed an intermediary organization to facilitate that gift. So this is an example of sort of an administrative helpful tool for especially companies who want to support the government. The next example I wanted to give was a recent partnership that we created with the Boathouse Foundation that's attempting to create the river access at down along the Potomac on the Arlington side of the river. This is some screenshots from their donation page that resides on the Community Foundation site. So one of the benefits of a partnership with the Community Foundation is that on a project basis or on a broader basis, you can set up an online donation page that would direct funds into an account that you all, whomever is sort of the administrator of that fund, could access and see what donations have come in and direct funds out of those to support the projects. So in this case, the Boathouse Foundation, despite having its own 501c3, recognized the helpfulness of working with the Community Foundation to accept gifts of non-cash assets like stock donations and other things that can be helpful. And just that sort of all volunteer-led organization that likes the consistency of donors who give into it being recognized and receipted in a timely manner, and having that sort of not have to worry about that from the volunteer perspective. The next example is just this past year, one of the funds, some of you may have known Connie McAdam. Connie's estate has created a fund at the Arlington Community Foundation that allows for us to, in partnership with the person who is still administering this estate, to identify projects within the county in recognition of her support of the county and her trailblazing impact as the first woman to head the recreation division of Parks Department. And so this year that fund supported Arlington Palooza, and the music stage was named for Connie at Arlington Palooza. And so we worked with Jane and her team to make sure that this gift moved forward and helped to make this event even more robust than it would have been otherwise. Any questions about any of those examples or? No? Okay. And then this is not a parks related one, but in order to kind of highlight the range of services that can be provided through the Community Foundation, a similar organization to what you're looking to establish is the Friends of the Arlington County Public Library. And you will, you'll note here, this is just a screenshot from their website, that they use us for their planned giving back office. And so as there are people that you come across that are interested in supporting things now, we have solutions for that. But those that are interested in leaving funds specifically to support different pieces of the park system or certain particular priorities, we can assist in helping to make sure that those gifts get secured. As we kind of move into more of the conversation portion of this, I know because of where you are in this process that there's a lot of unanswered questions. And so these are some questions that I know, because we're also assisting the, there's also a goal in Arlington of having a sidecar to APS that does like an education foundation, which is a similar parallel. And we're also assisting them through this process of identifying what are the goals and the additive things that we're hoping to do with this vehicle, and identifying the mission and making sure that you have a critical mass around what will be the priorities of any kind of effort that you would put together is really important. And there's a number of other things here as you move into a decision-making process and you identify monies that are coming in. There may be opportunities that you want to learn more about how that money could be invested in the Community Foundation. But at this point, I feel like what I've heard and understand is that you're hoping to have a platform for now that can help you to begin to build something that would be like a Parks Foundation, and to have a partner that can support you in any number of different donor relationships that you might be managing to accomplish the goals that you set out.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. So before taking any questions, I'd just like to ask Jane to provide any remarks she wants regarding fundraising that the Parks Department does for benches and plaques and that sort of thing. Thank you.
Great. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to be here with Jen and talk about fundraising in Arlington and what we can do for our parks. As she said, that there's been a lot of collaborations with our department, and there are several others that she didn't even mention. And I think that they're just really good examples of how people who want to make sure that their funding is being managed a certain way, or they want to have a partner who maybe isn't the county to help them sort of feel good about where their funding's going. That said, the county has done, since I've been here, some direct fundraising in a couple of different ways. As many of you are aware, we have our $10 million that we received from the Boeing organization for Longbridge Park. Actually, part of that was a partnership with the Community Foundation because, for example, there, Boeing had different types of funding. Some of it could go directly to the county, and some of it had to go to a nonprofit. So we worked with Jen to pass it through the Community Foundation. They actually kept some of the funding to do some work with military families in Arlington, and then the rest of it came through to Arlington eventually. So there's sort of different ways that we also work with them. We're currently fundraising with the Arlington Soccer Association and the Arlington Sports Foundation for $2 million for Kenmore Fields. That project is happening, and they have been, again, transferring the funding directly to the county. We enter into memorandums of agreements with these organizations, just like we do with Jen's group when we have these funding opportunities. And then I'm going to quickly just share my screen too. And let me make sure. Oh, where is it? Let me know when you can see this.
We can see
Yep.
it.
Great, thank you. So I can't see you, so if anybody raises their hand, or I won't save for too long, but this is our sort of donation and collaboration website on the county. So we have 3 areas where people can donate with us. You can, we have a bench donation program where people can either donate or adopt a bench. Sometimes they have a placement where they want to put a new bench. Sometimes they're happy with one of the benches where they're placed and want to put a plaque on it. We have a memorial plaque program as well. And then finally, you'll see there where it says collaborate with DPR. And that's a program that we created about 10 years ago. People are interested often in either providing funding or in-kind donations to the county, and it was getting to be very cumbersome in order to do it. It went through just these really long processes. And so what we worked out with the county board was sort of an overarching policy that said donations under $50,000 can really just come straight to the department after it's gone through this evaluation process, but it doesn't need to go through a full county board process to make sure that it's okay. And so we were able to be much more nimble when we were able to get donations. And we've done anything from, for example, the Our Dogs, which is the dog group that's next to Gateway Park. That's part of the dog park there and sponsors it. Recently donated agility equipment, and they went through this process with us. We've also done a number of other types of projects around the county where people come in and they're donating something to us, or they are actually giving us funding to be able to say, for example, we did another one for about it wasn't even very much money, like $5,000, $10,000 for some gymnastics equipment recently. That was a way for us to upgrade what we had. And we were able to support our booster group, but be able to take the funding in a quick way and get it into the gym as quick as possible. So those are sort of some of the ways that we do fundraising directly in Parks and Rec. But we always are excited to have partners to work with, especially if we are ever looking to take on something more broader, like as you guys have talked about, like a friends group or a foundation. That really would be sort of probably beyond the means of government per se. And so we would want to look to have a partner like the foundation to think about doing work that way. So there's just, I think what we're kind of showing tonight is there's a lot of options. And it's like a really good time to start talk about those options and then think about what might be the best way to move forward. So I look forward to answering your questions and seeing where this conversation goes.
Great. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jen. So commissioners, you have some questions, and if so, please raise your hands. And Jill has asked me to maybe do your virtual hand so that I can actually see, because there are a couple of pages. But I see that Jill has raised her hand, so go ahead, Jill.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, Jane, and William. I don't have a question at this moment, but I want to point out that the Park and Recreation Commission itself would not be the one organizing the foundation or the donations or anything like that. What we are doing is gathering information that we can then report to the county board in terms of what we would recommend that another organization engage in. So thank you. I just wanted to make that clear.
All right, thank you, Jill. All right, who has the next question? If any? I guess perfectly clear. All right.
It looks like Hamilton, maybe very soon.
Hamilton, yes.
Hamilton,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, so just to recap, the purpose of the structure is to make sure that the money can be used more quickly and so organizations that want to gather money don't have to redo the admin over and over again. So and this provides that service. So rather than the boathouse having to create their own setup and so on, they can use a pre-existing county structure. Is that more or less correct? Because it makes a huge amount of sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jen, I think that might be a question for you.
Sure. Well, in the boathouse scenario, they actually have their own 501c3 nonprofit organization, and yet still, for this discrete project, felt that there would be more credibility and transparent. Well, not credibility. I shouldn't say that, but quickness with being able to accept and receipt donations versus kind of having them go to an organization that's fully staffed by just volunteers. And so as money comes in, we can also work with their larger donors to say, hey, if this project doesn't move forward and you've made this commitment or this donation, you maintain the flexibility then to do something else with it if that doesn't come to fruition. And so for projects, especially where there's a larger amount and you're trying to get those early donors, a partnership with the community foundation is also often a good solution because those donors can maintain the ability to direct those funds in other ways based on agreements that they would make with the community foundation. So I think in every case where it doesn't go directly to the county, it's generally something related to the donor wanting to have more control than they feel like they will have if it goes into the county coffers immediately.
Okay, thank you. Do we have other questions?
Can you talk about the fees associated with the service?
Sure. So our fees are based on assets under management for each fund. So we charge 1.25% of the assets under management. So for when there's no money in the account, when it's just a shell, there's nothing charged by the community foundation. There's no setup or anything like that. We charge those if funds are to remain inside the community foundation. And so for many of these projects, they're actually quite a short amount of time that the money would reside in the community foundation. And so our fee then would be, smaller. And then you also may not want them exposed to the market. So one of the reasons people pay a fee to the community foundation is because it can remain invested while it's waiting to do whatever it's going to do. And that we have 4 investment pool options from, money market up to a high equity allocation pool, so that if this was something that was 10 years out, you might want to put it in a riskier pool. If it's something you're doing in the next, month or two, you might just want it in the money market. But, even the money market right now is making enough to pay for the fee.
Yeah, that's one question I had, especially with regard to the boathouse, which we know is going to take several years before those monies would be drawn on. But Jane, how would the monies be drawn out? What process would, taking the boathouse as an example, just because I'm familiar with that?
So if discrete, right now there are just discrete accounts set up with the foundation, right? Jen's group, that are for different things. So she talked about it. So for example, like with the Connie McAdam thing that she showed us, the showcase that we have for Arlington Palooza, that was in the spring. And we set up an agreement that we just, once this happened, that we would invoice them once we could show that we had our self set up for this. Last year was our first year. And so we set up our entertainment that we were going to use, and then we invoiced her for the amount that we needed to pay for the entertainment. So it's kind of a very simple way to do it. The Boathouse Foundation, they are looking to raise, as you may know, we are moving forward with a 20 plus year commitment to build a boathouse on the Potomac River. It's a large project. It's actually a 2-part project. It involves the federal government because we're actually on NPS land. Marco could probably tell you the whole thing because he was our main staffer on it for many years. And we have funding in our CIP for the project. We are actually out right now to award for an RFP for master planning the site. And we have funding in the out years, but there's a $6 million funding gap. So that for a couple of reasons. One, because the county, it's an expensive project. It's also a project that we always anticipated being a partnership that was potentially with the federal government. We're in talks with our local congressman, whose name just drew a blank. Of course, thank you. With Byers' office and then the Boathouse Foundation. So the Boathouse Foundation has committed to raise $2 million for the project. So while they're raising that, and they're going to, keep it with the foundation at the time, we are also entering a MOU with the foundation, with the Boathouse Foundation that our county board will approve, that commits them to that $2 million. So once there are key, and this will be approved by the board, so it's something you could all look at, but there'll be key indicators of when they need and a schedule of when they need to submit their funding to keep in track with the construction that we're doing. It's usually we look for all the funding before construction starts. That's kind of the only way that we're often able to even award a construction contract, is you have to have all your funding available. So once that's adopted, and we'll work on the MOU with them, but also with Jen to make sure she's aware of that timeline. And then we'll work with them to transfer the funding over to the county at the appropriate time.
Mm-hmm.
Jen, could you also, you emphasize that your organization will provide the backbone so that any community entity can focus on engaging with donors, etc. And also that you provide a link for the organization to put on its website. So can you just clarify, you don't actually do any fundraising on behalf of organizations, is that right?
We don't, but what we are, happy to do is assist in any specific donor outreach. So for example, you're going to meet with a donor who is contemplating a larger gift, and you want sort of a second chair or someone to work with in advance of that ask. We're happy to assist with that, especially if it helps at all in the securing, like if you're the Boathouse Foundation, for example, and you're not, you're not normally asking for, 6 or 7 figure gifts from people, you may want that additional support from our team, and we're more than happy on those. So we don't go out and identify the donor, but if you say, hey, I've got this important meeting coming up and we'd like someone from the community foundation to join us, we're happy to do that. Similarly, like with the Friends of the Library, they'll often hand off a donor who reaches out to them to us and have us, work through with them whatever they're looking at, how to note a donation to the library and their estate, how to transfer stock, those kind of things. And we, they just do a warm handoff to us. So we don't do anything proactive, but we're there to be supportive.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's very helpful. All right. Do we have other questions? Looks like you both gave excellent presentations, and we know about the admin support, the warm handoff, and also, of course, the Parks and Recreation Department's fundraising activities. If we don't have any other
I have
questions,
one more.
Jill,
Can I ask one more question?
Jill has
Sorry
asked
if
most
I'm
of the questions
dominating this
here, so
discussion.
go ahead, Jill.
Sorry. Good thing it's not a game show or something.
It's like Hollywood Squares here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just curious if you can tell us about the Education Foundation that's under consideration, that's supporting Arlington Public Schools, because I think that's the grand scope, that we started off this process thinking about was something that enormous. Who's behind that, and are they making progress?
Yeah, I mean, they're in the early stages too, and it's
Okay.
a number of board members. And again, similar to you, it would be a separate group that would do this. It wouldn't be the school board, but there's been that same tension that you feel, which is there private dollars that we're leaving on the table that we could be securing if we had some type of platform for it? And I think they're similar to you. They have to decide, is this to fund niche things? How do we make sure that people who donate don't feel that this is a way to supplant, public dollars, or to, let the county off the hook for continuing to provide the support that it's always provided to particular projects. So there's that same tension, that idea of, is this for, pet projects, or that different people want to see happen? So, one of the funds that Jane and I work on together is one that removes invasive species from Lubber Run. That's exceptionally specific. And so you have to think about, when you create a platform like this, is it for running these niche things through, or is it going to create the vision of the things it wants to support and then attract dollars to it? So is it more of a passive, like someone has an idea or there's a grant available and we're gonna act on that one thing? Or are we gonna say, these are the top 3 things that aren't currently in the county plan that we want to go out and proactively raise money for, and we're gonna, set up accounts for that and fundraise specifically for those things. So it's that same, push and pull of, everybody's got their thing that they want to see happen, but who's going to make the decisions about what the priorities of the entity are?
Yeah, when we were looking at the Fairfax Foundation, it was clear that it was a series of very small projects. And yet the county, I think, was paying around 300,000 a year, if that's correct.
That's about right. Yes.
Yeah.
Then they dropped it to about 150, I believe, this year, and may go away entirely.
Yeah.
Well, and there's no, I mean, in the examples that we're looking at, there's the donors themselves are taking on the expense of having that niche thing done. So if you have your niche fund at the Community Foundation for invasive species at Lubber Run, you as the donor to that are bearing that cost, not only of removing the invasive species, but of having that separately maintained by the Community Foundation. So it takes it off of sort of the bigger picture. It's just, when people have these things, they can go directly to Jane under the rubric that she shared around what can come directly to her. They can come to the Community Foundation today if they say, hey, I want to, explore doing this very specific thing.
Okay.
Great. I also wanted to give Jane the chance to add any other comments you would like to this topic.
Oh, no, I mean, I think it's a really interesting topic. I think there has been more and more interest in doing things in Arlington in a sort of more philanthropic way. We've seen this across our projects where we've been finding partnerships are really key as the county, people want more in their county, and there's only so many limited funds. And we do find that that's been a nice thing to see people stepping up, either with these very specific things that Jen holds for us, or then with some of the partners that we work with directly. And as I said before, I think there's just a lot of different models and sort of the comfort level of whom wants to do where they want to sort of who they want to partner with, and then how they want to achieve it. I do agree with Jen, though, that if a foundation was going to be created that was a little bit more big picture and vision, that you would need a partner like the Community Foundation to help kick it off.
Great. Thank you both so much. I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to hand it back to Jill. And thank you both so much.
Thank you both so much for coming. We'll look forward to hearing what's in William's letter that goes to the county board.
All right. Well, thank you both. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys have a great holidays, and we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Bye.
service to the county.
Great. Thank you, William. That was wonderful. So I think we completely researched that all the way down. All right. What are we doing next? Staff report. Is there anything you wanted to highlight, Marco?
Nothing specifically, although I do know that I believe the 3 urban parks first community engagement will be on the 20th of November, if I'm not mistaken. So if you are part of that effort or would like to track it, please, I would encourage you to participate in that. and any other online engagement opportunities that there are for site plan projects, other master planning efforts, and anything that may be coming forward within the next few weeks or months. And for December, I wanted to also mention that we will have an opportunity to share some treats with the commission in person. So if you have an opportunity and would like to share anything, we'll have that as we do every single year.
He means cookies.
Yes. Cookies, baked goods, non-alcoholic drinks, and other things that we can share around the table. That would be great to do as well. Alex, I think I see your hand.
Yeah. So I am the second for the 3 parks, urban parks initiative. I think Melissa is the primary. Is that correct?
I believe
Yep.
so. Yes.
Melissa, are you going to be able to go on Thursday? Because Urban Forestry's November meeting is also on Thursday at the same time.
Thursday the 20th?
Yes, this in 2 days.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Okay.
Thank you,
And
guys.
Are you going to be able to attend a walkthrough on Saturday as well?
I don't see why I couldn't.
Okay. Good. Just making sure.
Thank you. And then Marco, did you want to say something about the meeting, the commissioner reports in the December meeting? Did you already say that?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. And I think I mentioned this within the email to the commission earlier, but we will not be collecting commission member reports or staff reports for December, since we have a very short period between this meeting and that one on the 9th. So have a little break from that until January.
Great, thank you. And I encourage everybody to read the staff report. It's always very informative and very detailed. Thank you very much. So the next up is commission member reports. We wanted to talk tonight a little bit about the Bill Thomas Volunteer Award. Do you want to take that one, Marco, or do you want me to?
Oh, I can start it off. So
Okay.
we're going to begin to kick off the process for the 2025 Bill Thomas Park Volunteer Award. As you may recall, this is the award that's given annually by the commission to honor outstanding volunteer efforts in support of the health, sustainability, and functioning of the parks and public spaces within the county. And it recognizes an individual or a group who demonstrates that ongoing dedication and benefit to the county's natural resources, parks, and public spaces. So that's the purpose of the award and who it may go to. There will be a nominating period sometime at the early part of this upcoming year, 2026. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be meeting with our public relations unit to discuss a potential timeline of activities and milestones that we'll need to meet in order to be prepared for the award ceremony and presentation we're targeting again May of 2026 for that, very similar to what we did this year. So this will likely come to the commission for review and vote or recommendation to nominate a winner for the county board at the April PRC meeting. So once that vote happens, the county board would then take on that recommendation and adopt it formally and present the award to the group or the person that would be honored with the Bill Thomas Award. There would also be a reception after the presentation to honor that individual or that group. And we're also planning on having our regularly scheduled PRC meeting later on that evening, so everything runs smoothly for the afternoon and evening. So yes, so we're in the middle of discussing what that'll look like, any milestones that we'll need to hit along the way, and the process moving forward. I believe, Jill, we'll discuss potentially who from the commission may be participating in this potentially within the next meeting, but just wanted to highlight it from there, at least at this point. And if you have any other questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, I just want to make everybody aware who's not aware is that we normally choose the most recently appointed commissioners to serve on this really fun and rewarding committee. So Dave, I think I'm looking at you and maybe Carly if she's not here. So we'll see what happens next month rather.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
That's it for you. Okay, and I wanted to make one typographical correction under the Natural Resources Joint Advisory Group report. I said the tree canopy study is concluded. I should have said the tree canopy fund study is concluded, which is very different from the tree canopy study. So apologize for that oversight. Did anybody else want to, oh, let's see, we wanted to talk about, I know of the River House, we wanted we wanted Gary to talk about that. Is there any other project that we want to discuss under commission reports? If not, I'll go straight to Gary for the River House.
Just to unmute myself. We're going to have a no doubt impressive presentation from the applicant of this in this project at our December meeting, but I thought I would give you a little bit of a briefing on it just so you have some background before the December meeting on this project. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the River House complex. It's in Pentagon City. It encompasses, I'd say, at least 50 acres of land and 3 massive apartment buildings, each of which have at least 1,000 residents. And this is an area also where there is a lot of mixed open space. And by that, I mean, some of the open space was green and some was consists of massive parking lots. So, but this was an area definitely ripe for development in terms of increasing the density here in Arlington. In fact, I'm not sure if I can think of another property that has greater potential for increasing density than this property. The challenge here is that they're planning to add 3,554 new dwelling units on this piece of property, and between 4,500 and 5,000 residents to this community. And there is a nice mix in that they're going to have 185 senior living units, 265 rental townhomes, 164 condos for sale. The bulk of the remainder of units will be rental apartments. So I think, in my mind at least, this project raises one of the most challenging situations for us in that, you know, if we're focused on keeping Arlington livable, how do we handle a huge influx of residents in a particular neighborhood? Next to the River House property is Virginia Highlands Park. That is a well-loved park, well-used, and to have that many, potentially that many, 4,000 or 5,000 new residents using that park. And a lot of this new housing is family units. So we're going to have a fair number of kids added to the neighborhood. So how do we go about accommodating that? And also, what is the impact on biophilia and loss of open space? As I mentioned, this property has a lot of open space right now, separate and apart from the parking lots. But that open space is mostly turf grass with some, a handful of mature oak trees. But then also on the western border, which stretches for, I'd say, 300 or 400 yards. I mean, it's a massively long area. That western border, which it varies from about 30 feet to 50 feet wide, it is absolutely packed with non-native invasive plants. So that's going to be a real challenge to deal with here. But the good news is that the applicant has offered to take out those non-native invasive bushes along that border, which would be a huge plus. And it's my understanding also that they're going to backfill with native plants. The details will still have to be hammered out, but that is one thing that they've offered to do. They've also offered to add to our green ribbon network and create not one, but two nice wide pathways. And by wide, I mean between 30 and 40 feet wide through the buildings that would go from east to west up to Lynn Street, which is the street that's sort of at the bottom of the Arlington Ridge community. There aren't other sections of the green ribbon immediately adjacent to the River House property. So these will just be segments on that property. They're not really going to connect up with other green ribbon properties today. But hopefully some years down the road, there'll be additional segments added to this neighborhood, and that will then be connected up with the green ribbons pathways on the River House property. One other thing that the applicant has offered to do, and this has changed recently, and I actually was going to be arguing to you guys that we should insist that this applicant provide a community benefit payment to make up for its impact on the Pentagon City community. But in light of what they're now going to do, which is they're going to be rerouting Joyce Street, which is the street that goes along the eastern border of the River House property. They're going to allow that street to curve into the River House property and basically cut out a good 3 to 4 acres of property. Initially, they were only going to cut out a much smaller piece, and that piece was land that was very sloped. It might make a wonderful sledding hill in the winter, but other than that, I'm not sure what recreational use could have been put to that property. But they are now going to be adding in a section of level land that is currently sort of a quasi park. At one point, it was even given the name of Grace Hopper Memorial Park. But in any event, that level land, which I would say is probably 1.5 acres to 2 acres at least, is also now going to be included in the gift to the county to have all that property added to Virginia Highlands Park. So right now, Joyce Street cuts between Virginia Highlands Park and River House. When the Joyce Street is rerouted, this property that's being donated to Virginia Highlands Park will be merged into the park. There'll be no road bisecting through it. So I think that provides great potential for recreational amenities such as a children's playground, a dog park. As part of the construction of the River House property, they are going to be removing the dog park that currently exists on River House property. So it would be nice to return a dog park to this neighborhood, because there are a lot of dog owners in these buildings, and they really desperately need a dog park. So my hope is that that will be one of the things that our Park and Recs folks decide is a good use of this property that's going to be donated. So in light of all of these pluses, I'm going to be recommending that we not ask for a community benefit payment. But I'm sure there'll be situations down the road on other projects where it might well be appropriate to ask for that benefit when we don't have this kind of very helpful package where they're providing a very substantial amount of property to be added to one of our parks. They'll have the green ribbons put in, and also they'll have other open space that will be made available on their property for use by the residents there. So all in all, a pretty good project. So anyway, but again, you'll have a very fancy presentation at our December meeting from the applicant. So I see that Hamilton, you have a question?
Mr. Rasmussen goes first, actually, I believe.
Okay. Okay. I see you down there.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Pam. Appreciate that. Thanks, Gary. That was really helpful, informative. I have a couple questions. One's, I guess maybe for you, the one's for probably Marco. So the question for you, Gary, is what is the time horizon for this, for the work?
Yeah, it's going to be several years in the making. They have there must be 15 different buildings that they're going to be adding to the property, and they'll be doing that in stages. The first stage will be at the end of the property where they'll be gifting property to Virginia Highlands Park. So that should be coming in the first stage, but this is going to take multiple years from when the design is approved and they actually start the construction. The board will be voting on this in the middle of December, if I'm not mistaken, so, which will be after our December meeting. So if based on the presentation of the applicant here at our December meeting, if you have serious concerns, and you know, we would still have an opportunity to hopefully quickly throw together a letter to the board members. So I don't mean in any way to foreclose that, but we have sort of a tight deadline to do that, which is in part why I decided to take up time in this meeting to at least give you an overview of what this project entails.
Thank you. And then Marco, my other question is about what is going to happen with the donated property. So will this trigger a park planning process just for those 2 acres, or is there any kind of master plan schedule for Virginia Highlands in the next few years that this would become part of?
I think it would be potentially part of that effort. To your point, I think it would be part of a larger Virginia Highlands Park master planning effort. I can't speak to when that would be. I would imagine it would be within the out years, but that's something that would need to be discussed internally within the department to see what would make the most sense in terms of timing, and then the funding for the master planning, as well as design development and construction for that as well. So more information to come once we have that.
Yeah.
Okay. And when was the last time Virginia Highlands, a major plan was I guess implemented?
Not sure about the last master planning effort, but what I do remember is there was extensive work done on the tennis court facilities, and I think some surrounding amenities as well several years ago. So I think that was probably the most recent work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
I noticed in the capital budget that there is money slotted for Virginia Highlands in 2028. But I'm not sure when the River House project is going to get up and running, but hopefully, if it turns out to be a good project, hopefully they'll have shovels in the ground at that point and maybe have that property already gifted over to us. Okay, Hamilton, I think you're next, and then I see Alex, you have your hand up also.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly, because obviously I turned on my Google Maps so I could visualize what you're saying. So essentially, they're going to replace a lot of the River House apartments with this new set of buildings. And in order to create more park space, Joyce Street is essentially going to be moved west, which is going to expand the footprint of Virginia Highlands Park, which gives us more flexibility in what to do there.
Yeah, actually, they will not be removing any of the existing buildings. They're going to be keeping all of those, and they're just going to be putting in additional buildings.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
you're correct about Joy Street. It will be cutting in, going west, and then curving south, and then back east. It comes in sort of in a scallop sort of form.
Which that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I just wanted to understand. And of course, it's always an amusing name, Virginia Highlands, and one of the lowest points in Arlington.
Right.
And just to supplement that, Hamilton and Gary, I think, Gary, you mentioned this earlier within your discussion. I believe the majority of the new buildings, if not all of them, will be on what's now existing surface parking, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, they're essentially getting rid of all their surface parking, and that parking, I'm sure, took up at least 4 or 5 acres. They have massive parking lots. So I think it's a much better use of that land. Okay. Alex?
Hey, Gary. So thanks for working on this. I know this is a big project that's lasted a very long time, and was a big deal to track. I wanted to ask you whether you have any numbers on how much open space they're planning on removing. I realize that they're hopefully going to be focusing a lot of the buildings on the parking lots, but you'd mentioned that, and there's a lot of open space that's kind of intertwined between the buildings now. So how much do they anticipate removing from the site for this project?
Yeah, that is an excellent question, and it's unclear at this point. I'm going to be sending questions through Arlington County staff to the applicant ahead of time so we don't blindside them. But that's actually one of the questions I will have from them. What is the net effect and in terms of impact on open space from this development? They suggest that they're actually adding a couple of acres, but I find that a little bit hard to believe, given that when you look at the map of where they're going to put all these new buildings, it kind of gobbles up virtually everything left on that property. And that property has a lot of open space on it right now. Again, even separate and apart from the parking lots, there's a lot of green space, not healthy, rich biophilia green space, but at least open space with some trees at least.
And it looks like within their plan, they've got some future final site plans ensconced within this too. So that may or may not have a role here. They may be making it rather difficult to determine how much they're going to remove because they don't want to advertise all of that, which may happen in the more distant future.
Very good point. Yes. Yeah, they've been a bit of a moving target during this process, I have to say. And just recently did I learn that they were going to make a part of their property donation to Virginia Highlands Park, the section that encompass some level ground. Anyway, we'll have an opportunity at our next meeting to try to pin them down on some of those things. But the devil is in the details.
Well, I think getting perhaps, as you say, giving them some advanced questions so that they are prepared with answers for us, if not before our next meeting or at our next meeting, will be crucial, because we will not have time to wait for answers after the meeting. We will have to turn a letter around within a day or two.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up too, Gary. Are you planning to write a draft letter and circulate it before the next meeting so that everybody would be ready to vote on your letter? I also want to explain how indebted I feel to you for slogging through all these meetings and asking lots of questions and coming up. I think these concessions are largely the result of your persistence, and we appreciate that. So, but I just wanted to know about the schedule because we will be turning this around really fast.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. So I will have a draft letter prepared based on the information I have prior to the meeting, it could turn out that they come up with answers to questions at the meeting that torpedo this. But if they do, I will, I think, be able to pivot pretty quickly to, instead of writing a letter saying this is great because of this, that, and then the next, but to one where we're saying this is, given the impact on this neighborhood of that many additional people, we need to have a community benefit contribution of beyond what they're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alex, I think
William is next.
William. Okay.
Yeah, it's William's next.
Okay.
Hey, Gary, do we have any information on what kind of fitness centers internal to the buildings that the developer will incorporate, treadmills, that sort of thing, so that, that's my question.
Yeah.
Maybe better for the next session when the developer comes, but that's what I was trying to get.
Yeah, I will make that one of my questions. I hadn't thought of that. I don't think I've seen any mention of that in any of the meetings that I've attended. I may have missed it, but that's a really important one because clearly they're going to be in need of recreational opportunities and workout facilities and things of that sort in that neighborhood. So we should keep that in mind as well.
And I have a sorry, go ahead.
Specific to that, if I could just add, currently there are 6 tennis courts on the property, and all of those will be removed. Virginia Highlands Park has 4 tennis courts, but I think they're heavily used right now. So, I think the tennis courts of Virginia Highlands Park are going to be substantially impacted by this.
I also had a bonus question. Do we know what the tenant pool is, either for the existing or the new properties? Because it's right next to the Pentagon, and of course the Pentagon has its own rec facilities, and so that might take some of the pressure off the local parks. But be curious about that too. Thank you.
Okay, I'll add that to my question. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see. I guess Alex, you're up.
Yeah. So thanks for the point about the tennis courts as well. I think now between the loss of the on-site tennis courts and the loss of the on-site dog park, it sounds like that there is a very likely potential that a lot of use is going to be recreational use is going to be put onto Virginia Highlands Park, which is already pretty heavily used.
Yeah.
I'm not as familiar with the project as you are, but I think we should strongly advocate for, at the very least, the applicant finding a place on its property to replace its dog park. I don't think that, seeing as it may take the county some time, and we don't know whether the county is going to agree to put a dog park on the property that it acquires from the applicant, and that may be many years in the future. Sometimes these projects can take a very, very long time. That it seems that the applicant needs to deal with this on its own, that it's almost certain that a lot of the use from dogs is going to get displaced elsewhere.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, no, it's a very good point. And the times that I've been on the River House premises and gone by the dog park, it is definitely quite used. And I would think a place like this that permits people to have pets would want to have a dog park on their property and use that as something to advertise itself with.
Mhm.
So hopefully, that won't be a big ask of them, that they might even be inclined to do something like that. But I'll bring that up in the questions I send them. I'll ask, are you open to building a replacement dog park to replace the one that you're going to be taking out? And,
Yeah,
and,
'cause,
and
yeah,
hopefully they'll.
otherwise, I can see quite a bit of user conflict in Virginia Highlands Park.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So that whole park will be turned into a dog park unless we create other options for the dog owners. Yeah.
Adam?
Yeah, just to follow on with that point, there already is conflict over the use of the park and residents in the area, especially around the softball fields, which are right there.
Mhm.
And if one was cynical, they would think that the River House is the reason they're transferring land is so that they can transfer responsibility for recreation, like tennis courts and dog park, over to the county by saying, here's 2 acres. Now, could you replace it with the 2 things that we're taking off our property so we can put buildings on? I'm not saying that's why they're doing it, but one could very easily interpret
No, not at
that.
all.
So the serious part of that is that perhaps we should consider thinking about still asking them for providing some amenities, because in some ways this is not necessarily giving the county something that is new if we end up having to use it for a dog park and potentially to expand the tennis courts.
Yeah. The same thought crossed my mind too, as I've become more and more cynical about this project. It's like, I wonder what they're really trying to get away with. And I thought, oh, maybe they're actually trying to dump this so that Arlington County has the headache of managing that property. So yeah, that's a good point. So, and it would be great to have them make a contribution to pay for like playground equipment and other sorts of things like that we're going to have to provide for that community. So I will add that to my questions submitting that I'm going to submit to them beforehand. So let me just make a note of that. Give me just a moment.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
I don't see any other hands raised up, but I feel like we need to move on. We have another really lengthy topic to deal with, at least one. So is there any more on this? But this has really been a great discussion, and thank you for bringing it up today. So we'll be ready with our letter.
Okay.
So does anybody else want to bring up anything that they've been doing under commissioner reports? If not, we'll go to the letters. Okay, the first letter is the one, we
Jill.
discussed. What?
Sorry, I just wanted to mention in terms
Oh.
of
Sorry.
before we get to the letters, there are 2 new site plan projects that are coming forward for SPRC review in the future. One is the 2015 Street North Alexan at Courthouse project, as well as the 2134 North Taylor Street Waverly Ridge Townhouses site plan project. I sent the links to both of those efforts in a previous email. I believe Commissioner, I think Dave Early said that you would participate within the Waverly Ridge townhouse efforts, but wanted to see if there was any other interest from commissioners either on the Alexan or the townhouse project.
I will take the Alexan Courthouse project. I'll take the lead on that one.
Okay, thank you.
So everybody else, please
Um,
consider if you, go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, the Taylor Street, Waverly Ridge.
Are you willing to
That's-
be the second on that?
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Anybody else willing to work on the 15th Street? Okay, hopefully somebody will come up later on. Okay, are we ready for letters now?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. So William, the first letter up is the, we have it down here as the Community Foundation letter, but really it's the, how to get money to parks letter. So you said earlier you'd be willing to draft something up for consideration at the next meeting. Is that still fine?
Sure. Yes, and after our meeting with Jennifer and Jane, I did a quick draft and yeah, if you give me some feedback on that, we can, finalize it with any additional anything that we want to add from tonight.
Yeah, did anybody
Does
have
that
any
sound-
comments that they want to make in the letter? I think it's just going to be a summary of the 3 presentations that we had and our recommendation that the foundation is the right way to go, so.
Yeah, my only comment is this one seems to be a proven method of doing the administrative side of what we're talking about, but it doesn't address the kind of origination side. And there needs to be a whole separate conversation on that. But this is really, it seems like a perfect answer to, the nuts and bolts of managing donations and getting them in the right spots within the parks. And the parks are already working on a number of substantive projects. So I think that part of it's really well covered here.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I agree with you that the origination side is a little bit beyond the purview of the Park and Recs Commission. But maybe not. But anyway, we don't have time to talk about that right now.
Yeah, so I think we're in good shape for now.
Great. Thank you, William. And we had on here Public Spaces Master Plan Refresh. And that stemmed from a letter that I got from Dave Howell. It was a copy of a letter that he actually sent to the people who were doing the Public Spaces Master Plan, Irina and Jane. And what it boils down to is he wants to include in the refresh some of the victories that we've had in terms of integrating the principles that are in the Public Spaces Master Plan with the other comp plan elements. So I think that that's a pretty laudable goal, and I'm willing to draft up a letter along that line. But I wanted to check, is anybody else, I said we should think about it over the month. Did anybody else have any things that they wanted to mention with respect to the Public Spaces Master Plan refresh? If not, I'll draft up a letter for consideration at the December meeting that we can send to Jane and Irina about the scope of the refresh and putting some victories in there that we've done. We don't want to do any, I personally don't think it's right to expand the scope of the Public Spaces Master Plan at this juncture in a refresh. And instead, we're just kind of expanding on some of the things that we've done and expounding on them, explaining them. Okay, with no objection, we'll move forward. All right. Invasive plant removal letter. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of discussion or if it's going to be straightforward. We've been talking about this for quite a while. As instructed at the last meeting, Gary and I presented the letter, the draft letter to the Natural Resources Joint Advisory Group, and the other two commissions were very well disposed toward what we were presenting, and they had a lot of good ideas that I put forward in my report, including spreading the budget request over both the operating budget and the capital budget. But they both thought that the $1 million ask was well within reason. There was a little bit of disquiet over using the capital budget, but I think in the end, when I found that language in the natural resiliency plank of the capital budget that said it's supposed to be used in part for invasive plant removal, large invasive plant removal projects, that kind of put that to rest. So I open the floor for questions. You've all got a copy of the letter. If there's any discussion, please, this is the time for it. Going once. Everybody's sick of it.
No,
All
I
right.
thought, yeah, I thought the revisions were well done, and I'm very supportive of the letter. And I appreciate that you separated out the main body of the letter and then the detail and the appendix. I think that's going to be well received at the board level as well. Great,
thank you, Dave. And also Gary and I are trying to get meetings with the board members, but so far that hasn't worked. Okay, let's have a vote. Everybody in favor of the letter, use your virtual or real hand.
Both.
Or both. Have you got him, Marco? Okay, put him down. Anybody opposed to the letter? Melissa, are you down? Thank you. Anybody opposed to the letter, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, the letter passes unanimously. Thank you, guys. That was a big lift. Okay, the last thing I have on the agenda is the succession plan. I teased this last month, but I wanted to get all my P's and Q's lined up. But the situation is that Gary is not going to step into the chairmanship, but we have a candidate who raised their hand, William Way. Thank you, William, who is willing to be the next chair of the commission when I roll off in June. But he would like a little bit of a soft start. So what we'll do with Susan Cunningham's approval is that I'll be reappointed chair, and William will be appointed vice chair as of the January meeting. And then in May, I will roll off. William will be appointed chair, and Gary will come back as vice chair in June. And then you'll finish off the year, and then it's not my problem. You guys have to solve it yourselves. So hopefully everybody's in agreement with that, but I just wanted to let you know that that's been worked out. The chair and the vice chair are by board appointment, not by election. So, okay.
So
Looks like
Jill,
we're
is this
finishing
all
early.
done just so Gary can dig into the River House project in detail for 5 months? Is that the thinking behind this plan?
Gary will be digging into something, I am sure, maybe more than one something. So you are not getting rid of Gary.
Yeah. It will be to our benefit, no matter what it is, I'm sure.
That's right. Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right. Well, who wants to talk about what recipes they're going to make for next December meeting? I know Gary likes to make a lot of delicious breads.
I do. We're going to force those on you again. I'm sorry.
That's yummy.
Force
But I'll
Melissa?
throw in some
Force
cookies.
them on us. I love the use of words.
Melissa?
Do we have any allergens we should be aware of that someone needs to
great
be
question.
worked around?
Yeah, do we have, I think we might have some gluten-free people. But maybe they went off the commission, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but
So
if there's
I-
any nut allergies or lactose intolerant folks, anything like that.
Melissa, you're
Melissa,
unmuted.
you're muted.
Whoops. The easiest way might be if the person wants to email Marco or Jill, and then maybe we'll just get like a. Sorry, it says I'm still muted. Okay, never mind. But yeah,
No,
so
you're fine.
maybe
No, we can hear you.
Yeah.
We can hear.
but yeah, maybe an email to the, and then the person could say, we have a person who says they don't have to be like called out. Like, did you all know Melissa's allergic to like,
Right.
And now the whole county knows it's on
Yeah.
Arl now.
yeah.
That's
no.
a great idea, Melissa. Yeah, if there's any restrictions, dietary restrictions, or any other issues, let us know, and then we can then convey that.
Yeah. That's a good point. You say in the beginning, you don't convey any personal information you wouldn't want distributed.
That's right.
So, so I don't know if it's appropriate, but I'd like to at least recognize my friend Jeff Loftus, who is here as a non-voting, non-talking person. He's checking us out to see if he wants to be a member. Thanks for being here, Jeff.
Thanks for the invite. Great work you all are doing. It's fascinating.
Thank you.
I'm glad we haven't frightened you away.
No, I just wrapped up 34 years as a DOT bureaucrat, so I love this kind of stuff.
Perfect match. All right. Well, I'm not going to be one to belabor an early end date to our meeting. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to talk about? If not,
Adam,
Melissa's.
I see.
Do we have Melissa's your hand up? Okay, Adam.
Yeah, I just wanted to not call a question, but call for adjournment.
Amen. Anybody say second?
Second.
All right, and we all in favor say aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Good night.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.